I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it's been 30 years since the original Tomb Raider game came out. I'm going to be talking in this video about some of the people that have been playing as Lara Croft throughout the years, and a very special surprise regarding the new Lara Croft, Sophie Turner. So we're going to talk about it, but the original Tomb Raider was such a groundbreaking game. It wasn't like one that I was a huge fan of, but I really appreciated the design of the game being a 3D platforming adventure. You're playing as Lara Croft, who ended up being a totally iconic character. I mean, they're still making video games. They're making the Amazon TV show that's going to be starring Sophie Turner. They've made several movies. They had the Netflix cartoon. They've made tons of video games ever since the PS1. Lara Croft is actually one of the most recognized video game characters in the world. Arguably the most recognized female video game character in the world, which is quite an accomplishment. I'm sure they didn't have any kind of expectations that this game would be the monumental franchise that it is today. And of course, they originally started under IDOS. Core Design was the original developer. And they've changed hands with the companies throughout the years, of course. Square Enix picked it up eventually after they bought IDOS. And then they ended up selling the franchise to THQ Nordic Embracer Group. And they're going to be putting out their first new Tomb Raider games, although they did do the remaster trilogies for 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. They've done those recently, but the first actual new Tomb Raider games going to come out later this year. So we're going to get right into it here. This is an original screenshot from the original PS1 Lara Croft with the triangle tits intact and everything like that. Iconic. It's obviously very blocky and whatever, but you know, this kind of brings back a lot of nostalgia. And this is the first iteration we've ever had of Lara Croft. And of course, obviously a little more rounded on the actual cover art. But, you know, obviously they're kind of going for that kind of look. You can definitely see it's got that mid 90s CG aesthetic. Yeah, just a very interesting and iconic game. Not really one that has aged the best in terms of the gameplay. It's a little rough to play, but it was still, you know, a really cool game that let you explore this huge world. And, you know, it was just really cool for its time, obviously, which is probably why there are a lot of people that really still enjoy it today. So we have Sophie Turner here. She's going to be the new Lara Croft. I had concerns about this originally when I first heard this announcement because to me, she didn't seem like she would have been the best choice, you know. But turns out with the latest imagery here, oh my God. You know, this is like a total knock out of the park. Like, she is nailing the original aesthetic, the original iconic design of Lara Croft right here. This is from a wardrobe test that they did actually just earlier this morning that they showed this off. And absolutely brilliant and stunning. You know, this is actually very impressive. I wasn't too sure about the show, but after seeing this, I have high hopes for it. I really do. But I did want to, of course, look back at some of the other Tomb Raiders, you know, Lara Crofts that we've had throughout the years. And, of course, probably the most famous of all of them has to be Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie was the first actress that had portrayed Lara Croft in any sense of the word when they made the original Tomb Raider movie. And then they also made a sequel, of course, too, starring Angelina Jolie. And the original movie, you know, you can see based on the aesthetics here, they obviously went with a different direction. She's wearing an all black outfit here. She does fit the mold overall, although it different, of course. You know, it's Angelina Jolie. She doesn't look exactly the same, of course. But, you know, for the time, this was a time period when video game adaptations on the silver screen or the big screen or whatever you want to call it were pretty lackluster. And even though this wasn't like a really good adaptation of the game, I would say that at least for an early video game movie, this is one of the better ones. But yeah, you know, Angelina Jolie, of course, she's always done a really good job. Now, they've only had one other Lara Croft movie, which we're going to talk about that shortly. But in between that, whenever they did the new Tomb Raider trilogy, the most recent one that they did, that started with the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot, they did hire this actress right here, Camilla Luddington, to basically be the voice actress, to be how the character was modeled after, to do the motion capture and stuff like that. So even though she hasn't portrayed Lara Croft on the big screen, she is legitimately a Lara Croft actress, you know, and she really embodied her design, her character throughout the years. As you can see here, she definitely has that very similar aesthetic. You know, obviously the games, she was modeled exactly after that. You know, after her representation, her appearance. And, you know, from my perspective, you know, these are probably the best Tomb Raider games in terms of the overall gameplay, the overall flow of the games, the visuals, obviously, you know, they really did a great job with the new Tomb Raider games. I really need to go back and play them all. I actually recently picked up the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on PC, which you can only get for some reason off the Xbox store. You can't get it on Steam. Like the one on Steam is the original Tomb Raider release from 2013, but the Definitive Edition is the one they released on the PS4 and the Xbox One, where they made some enhancements and they changed the look of the character model a bit and that kind of stuff. And they did release that on PC, but only on the Xbox store or Microsoft stores. So I ended up picking that up when it was on sale really cheap. It was like $3 or something like that. But, you know, up to this point, she has been Lara Croft, at least in the video games. Now, I'm sure that's probably going to be a different story entirely. I'm not really aware of who the new person is or if they even really got a new person. I don't know. But, you know, of course, the games are coming out, so maybe they have made those announcements. I just haven't seen them. And then, of course, we have Alicia Vikander, who portrayed Lara Croft in the most recent movie, which I think was just titled Lara Croft Tomb Raider, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was just Tomb Raider. Yeah, it was just Tomb Raider, because I think Lara Croft Tomb Raider was the Angelina Jolie one. And, of course, she portrayed Lara Croft. This movie kind of was based on the 2013 game overall, because that's when Lara Croft started using the bow and stuff like that. Like, for some reason, during the mid 2010s, like, there was this huge obsession with characters using bows for some reason. I mean, you think about like Far Cry 3 and, you know, Tomb Raider, of course, had it. And there was like several other games that just used that particular weaponry for whatever reason. But of course, you know, I wasn't like a huge fan of her as Lara Croft. I didn't really think that she fit the look or anything like that very much. But for my perspective, I think it was the best of the Tomb Raider movies. You know, I think it fit the mold of the particular game or games it was trying to emulate the most. And it just was, in my opinion, the most entertaining. Maybe I'm weird like that. Some people do prefer the, you know, Angelina Jolie movies. But I digress, right? And then, of course, we also have to do a mention, of course, for Haley Atwell. She was the voice actress for the Tomb Raider Legend of Lara Croft, the Netflix show, the animated Netflix show. I've heard this is a really good show. I haven't actually watched it. But I definitely, next time I sign up for Netflix, I intend to watch this show because I've heard a lot of good things. And, of course, obviously, with just being the voice actress, I don't think they're really animating the character based on how the voice actress looks. There's not really any real reason to have to do that. Oops, accidentally went back. But yeah. And then, of course, we have Sophie Turner now, who is the new Lara Croft. And like I was just saying, totally knocks it out of the park. So it's going to be really fun to see this show. This is going to be the 30-year anniversary for Tomb Raider. And talk about a monumental franchise that's still ticking to this day. It's great to see characters like this on the screen. She's basically a female Indiana Jones, essentially. That was pretty much the original concept. But, it's more modern. It's more tailored to nowadays. And of course, it's also kind of encouraging like women and stuff like that. Kind of gets him more into like action roles, action video games and stuff like that. Because, it had been like a trope for a long time, like prior to games like Tomb Raider, like they typically didn't play them that much, to be honest, and it's partly because of the existence of the Tomb Raider franchise that we have more of the representation. And you know what? It's great for the guys too, because we get a lot of nice stuff to look at on the screen. So it's win-win, in my opinion. So cheers to Tomb Raider for the 30-year anniversary, and hopefully we will have a lot of great Tomb Raider games in the future. So anyways, I just wanted to rant about this, or whatever, gush about it, I guess you could say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out the last video I did, which was nothing to do with gaming at all, but I really went off the hinges, so you might enjoy that. But check the algorithm over there on the other corner. You might find something fire there. And don't forget to subscribe if you like videos like this. That's going to be the last line.